It is showtime in the big city. Hi, everybody. It is time for Three Guys Before the Game. Thank you very much for listening and watching, perhaps wherever it is that you consume your podcast. This is episode number 731. More about that coming up a little later. We've got a different type of a show for you today. We're going to start not with three guys. We're going to start with two guys, yet way over on the other side in right field is the Senator. The middle seat right now is open. Yeah, like no one is there, but it will be filled momentarily. We're going to be joined by WVU men's basketball coach Ross Hodge just a few hours after a major announcement coming within the Mountaineer basketball program that Brennan Lorient is going to return next season. He had thought back in April that he played his final game in the gold and blue when West Virginia won the college basketball crown, but as you probably know, rules change like on a daily basis, and below, back in, what's it all mean? It's absolutely huge. We'll get into that. Plus, Mountaineer football had its seventh practice of preseason earlier today. Rich Rodriguez comments and more. So that's your menu. Let's do this thing. Three Guys Before the Game, brought to us by GoMart. Get yourself that GoMart app and immediately save on food and fuel. Go to the GoMart app, wherever you get your apps, or just go to gomart.com for details. Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. We visited them last week. We got to meet the dude. We got to meet Lou and son Mike. That was awesome. Got a picture coming up later in the program, Textual Healing. Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. By Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. By Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. Textual Healing coming up, brought to us by WVU Medicine, the exclusive healthcare provider for all Mountaineers, including you. Our producer today is Dr. Jake, and we jump in. We got a lot of things going on, as I said. We're going to get to football in just a second, but the story, the big story, is something that started kind of as a whisper hope. Can you call it a whisper hope? Like way back a couple of months ago, you go like,
a good what if.
Yeah, like
what if?
Well, what if? Does that mean that like Brennan Lorient potentially could he come back, because he played just a very, very small amount.
61 minutes his freshman year at FAU. 61.
Yeah, when he was at Florida Atlantic, Dusty May was the coach, and he only played 61 minutes. So you always said, and Ross would say this, like, man, I just wish it would have been so good for him if he could have just had another season of college basketball. And then you saw him last season kind of like a flower. Really started blooming when he was at North Texas with Ross in the previous season. But then last year, he just started to do, right, he blossomed, and then he had some games there where you went like, whoa. And guess what? He's back. So instantly that moves you in your preseason predictions.
Well, I don't think there's any question that this is a top 25 team in the preseason. You look across this roster, and Tony, this was a good roster pre-Belo coming back. You add in a guy now that's an all Big 12 type of player, that's an NBA type of player. If he has the same improvement that he has done from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4 in terms of his seasons, this is a guy that can play in the league. And had some discussions. We'll talk to Ross about that. Had some discussions with this team this summer. You would have seen him in the summer league if it weren't for the possibility that he could get this fifth year back, and the fact that it's come to fruition, assuming, now there's a couple key things here, assuming the Colorado ruling holds, that's the class action, and or that Brennan's suit that he's filing here in West Virginia federal court gets approved that he's allowed to play. But all signs right now are that it's a go for Brennan Lorient. And I think the biggest thing, his commitment that he wants to return here, which he does. He knows the staff and this system is good for him. And what a boost to this program. Never mind the athleticism, never mind the talent. Somebody that understands this defense and this system as well as he does, This is a massive. This to say it's Christmas in August is, I think, understating it. This is huge.
Yeah, we'll get into the details specifically when Ross joins us here in just a little bit. But now, as I said at the very start, this today was the 7th practice day for the Mountaineer football team. And they were outdoors today. They bounced yesterday because of weather, inside and outside. Yesterday was their first day in full equipment, and they've got a big scrimmage coming up here on Saturday. It's one of the 2 big scrimmages. They go Saturday 15th of August, Saturday 22nd of August. Those will be their 2 big scrimmages. But Rich Rodriguez did address media members after practice was over today. And, Rich is kind of like a ride at Kennywood, kind of like the roller coaster. Some days, I shouldn't say, because he's never really super high at the top of the roller coaster. Some days he's a medium hill, and some days like he's way down, and he's not afraid to share those opinions. Today, I talked to him right after practice was over, literally coming off the practice field. We recorded a little thing. A little better mood than he was after the first day of practice.
He quick walked you after the first day when you interviewed him.
He didn't actually give me a handshake today.
Yes.
So last week he like just went, I'm
Gone.
out. He was pissed.
Yeah.
And today, starting to see the pieces come together.
Yeah, he was much. This was as relaxed as Rich gets in the summer camp time, and so he was reflective. But he also dove into some individual players. We'll talk about all that here coming up.
Go ahead, let's jump in.
Yeah, the first one was just kind of and you ask him this as each week goes along in camp to kind of take a look at where this team is today as he left the practice field versus where they were this time last year in his mind. Here's Rich.
Same thing, fair question. I was just trying to think about myself as because I look at our scripts from last year, this year, and how we're practicing, what we're doing in each period. And so I'm also trying to think, like, where were we at? Was I happy one weekend? I don't think I've ever been happy in 29 years. 1 weekend, 2 weekends, 4 weeks in. So I guess, like, if I look back at my notes and like, man, I'm ticked off after week 1 because we haven't made more progress, that would probably be the same thing I said 29 other times, So I try not to put too much into it, but I like to be further along than right now, but if I looked at my notes, we're probably further along than we were in the past. In fact, I know we are, so I can't complain.
I thought that was pretty good, reflective, Rich, there for a minute. He's interesting, though. He's not a guy that spends a lot of time looking back. He says he does look at his notes to find out what drills they were doing and certain things, but he's not really even concerned with last year. That is so far in the rearview mirror for him. He is what happened at today's practice, and now I'm looking forward to tomorrow's practice.
How do you say this? I ask myself inside my head as I'm talking out loud. So when I watch him at a practice, and I've watched him through seasons, okay, sometimes he knows what the reality is, and he coaches accordingly. Does that make sense? In other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if he knows that no matter what, your level is going to be this, like, I think he understands it and accepts it and coaches to that point. I think, and Coach Nealon was a lot like this also. When he knows he's got something, then he goes absolutely 10x to try to squeeze every single drop out of it. Like, he's trying to maximize efficiency in every single team, but sometimes he knows what the max is. Now, Coach Nealon, I don't know if I've talked about this a little bit. Like, Coach Nealon's demeanor would be, he was nicer when they were bad, and he was more chippy when they were good.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yeah, because that's not unique to Coach Nealon.
Correct.
Yes.
So, like, sometimes these guys know what the reality is, and they just go, okay, it is what it is, and it's not going to change now. But sometimes when they know they got a little something special, then they go, I am going to choke this thing out to get absolutely everything they have in them. And that's what I see right now. He knows he got a little something that he can matriculate the ball.
Yeah, and it's also your expectations are raised, right? So he knows, like on the offensive side of the ball, they have some potential there. They have some guys that can go, so he's going to ratchet up that let's go because he knows that it's inside them. And yeah, I get the sense too. But it's just interesting how he views what's in the past versus he is foot on the gas, let's move forward. Here's the other interesting part. If you did do that, go back last year to this year, this answer I thought was different this year when he starts to get into a listing of different names here, but he's asked about the leadership. So now you're in year 2. Last year it was mostly about culture and how things were coming along. Now it's how about the leadership and what does he want out of these team's leaders?
Yeah, and again, I'm a little different. I'm not like asking guys to be leaders every day on practice field, whatever. I want leaders in the locker room. I want leaders off the field, but I'm not worried about leaders in the practice field. That's what the coach is there for. But I do want guys that kind of show a certain type of consistent effort and intensity. If that makes sense, like, if that's a leader, that is a leader. That guy plays hard all the time. That guy's attentive all the time. That guy's, he's running from drill to drill. Yeah, you're seeing that on Jaden Bray. You're seeing that on Nate Gabriel. You're seeing that on guys, Nick Cray, Ben Cutter, guys that have played a lot of football for us have been here. Those guys, like, when I start getting one of my moods because we're not like the intensity's not what it is. You can, it ain't those guys ever. I'm not worried about them. They're in it. So we're slowly getting there. Like I said, I think we got a lot of work to do, but how we practice is different. It is. The intensity and the edge, whatever it is, I want it to be different. That's not for everybody. That's just the way we do it. And everybody's got to buy into it.
Thought that was an important line. Ross Hodge uses this a lot. How close to your max from how many guys can you get every day? And the more max you get from the more guys, the better you're going to be. And that's a big message that Ross preaches and Rich is as well, is that, listen, the great ones don't come and go. They don't ebb and flow, have a great Monday and a mediocre Tuesday and a not very good Wednesday and then a great Thursday again. You got to level that thing off and bring it every single day. But I did think it was interesting, all of the different guys that he mentioned right there, some familiar names. It's a roster in turnover, but that's a pretty good base to start there.
And a year ago, he didn't have that group of guys that could tell the other guys or show by example what it is that they need to do. Just didn't have it because everyone was new, right? And I think Rich has said this in the past. If you have to coach effort, then you got a problem. And the great ones, you never, ever have to question their effort. Because, it's one of the great sports issues. Like, very rarely do you have unbelievable competitiveness and intensity and unbelievable athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
You can be successful with one of the two if one of the two is really super high. Like, I can take a player that isn't God-given athletically, but if he's got this unbelievable desire to succeed, he can be a successful player. If you've got unbelievable athleticism, even though you may not be intense all the time, you can be an okay player. But when the marriage happens, then you have a special player. And so Pat White, right? They're going to retire his number. Why? Because he had unbelievable athleticism and the ability to play the sport. And what did he love to do? He loved to play. He loved to compete. And every day, no one ever had to say, hey, Pat, let's get going. And so that's what he's talking about. And the more of those, to your point, the more of those guys that you have, it just bleeds. Everyone else kind of looks at that and goes like, oh, Zach Frazier was a perfect example of that. Unbelievable ability, unbelievable desire, starting center in the NFL. And that bled over to all of those other guys on that offensive line. He literally changed the entire culture. So that's what these guys have got to establish.
And that's the magic to me. If you're really doing prognostication, and it's hard to judge this, it's hard to see it, you've got to be around guys for a long time, that's what tells you whether you have a great team or just an okay team, is that part of it. A lot of teams have talent. Which ones can string it together and get best efforts from the most amount of guys the right number of times? And that's what he's striving for.
Yeah. 100% right.
All right, now let's dive into some position groups here. There was a lot of talk today, as well there should be. One of the prized recruits in this class was Matt Sig out of Pennsylvania. And so there's been some talk, and there was a lot of it today from multiple sources about Sig. How's he coming along? It's an area of interest, right? How's that kid going to be? Can he play right away? How quickly can he make a difference given what his skill set is? Rich was asked about that today, is how quickly he can come along, and how do they know and decide when a player like that that's so young is ready to play at this level?
Yeah,
how can you judge that now?
Yeah, you just do it during practice. I mean, you know, they're going against good guys, and it's really, we try to make practice as competitive as possible. I mean, everybody says that, but do they really do that? And I think our practices are pretty competitive. We try to, I don't want to say pressure is the right word, because pressure is a privilege, but we try to put them in a situation like, see, how's he going to react here? And then the games become easy. And, you know, guys, sometimes at fresh, you worry about it freshman maybe more than anything else. But, you know, a guy like Matt who's played at a high level in high school, coach's kid, smart, mature, you know, it's nothing that he can't handle in the game. It's more now just getting them used to a college system and a college, you know, different coverages and get different, you know, the speed of the game's a whole lot faster. And I see him and a lot of those younger guys, you know, they're the ones that adapt the most, because they're going to get some pretty good dudes on the other side too.
Yeah, a couple things there. I think to answer the question, how do you know if a guy like Matt Sig can immediately come in and play? Okay, during practice. Does he make plays? Is he around the ball, or does he have missed assignments? Well, if he's running around the wrong direction, he's not even where he's supposed to be, well, guess what? He's not ready to play. But like today, for example, in practice, he's around the ball, right? He 2 days ago, unbelievable pass breakup in the end zone, gets himself an interception. I think it might have been today.
Yes.
Got an interception. Okay, so what's that tell you? Well, he's making plays, which means he knows where he's supposed to be. And then he walked by, right? And you just kind of look at him, and I think you said Mike Lorello and who else?
Brian King.
Brian King, exactly right. So if you want to put him into a little thing there, I think that's the kind of guy that he kind of looks like. He looks like a Brian King, a Mike Lorello, just like going to be a really
football player.
Good football player.
Yeah, not one of those guys that wows you with size, but certainly bigger than what you would think, because he's playing with some massive human beings. He walks by, he's got good size. And I think it's his first step and his quickness and his move, the way he moves is right now ready to go. And now it's just a matter of reps. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think he is mixed in extremely well, and he's a guy you're going to see early. Later in the press conference, it got into more, all right, what about playing the other side? What about getting on the other side of the ball, which Rich has talked about with him and some other players? That'll obviously come along a lot more slowly, but that's also something that Rich is looking forward to, as are the receiver coaches.
Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us in part by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's biscuit. If you don't want just a standard biscuit, and by the way, those biscuits, they're like manhole cover size. I mean, there's a big cat head, they call those biscuits.
Some do.
Well, right now they got these protein bowls that are going on, and they are absolutely packed with, guess what, protein. You can put whatever protein you want in there. You got your sausage, you got your bacon, you got your vegetable if you want to go that route. But tons of protein and energy, or you go lower carb breakfast, just go with the eggs. It's a filling meal. So if you want to go day without a biscuit, couple days without a biscuit, the new protein bowls deliver big flavor and satisfying portions. And Three Guys also brought to us by the good folks at Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. We have been
inside. DJ Epps is.
We got one more quick cut there. He was anxious to go.
Rich, I still have to do the Jan Dills read. Deborah, client, cannot thank Jan Dills enough for the experience and the professionalism extended towards successfully getting my SSD approved, Social Security Disability approved. Very helpful, answer all of your questions, put you at ease, overwhelming steps to apply for disability, but they kept in touch. I felt great knowing that I could call them with any questions or concerns. They contact the offices to get your information on your behalf. Their help makes everything extremely easy, and I highly recommend them. So if you or someone you know needs help with Social Security claims or veterans benefits and veterans claims, contact the good folks at Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law.
Rich was really excited right there. He jumped the gun a little bit. Wanted to talk about inside receivers today. Was a big topic of conversation. So here's Rich with his breakdown of the receiver group.
Inside, DJ Epps is a really good player. Again, another guy highly productive where he was at. He's had excellent practices all during camp. Who has slot receivers? You got, help me out here. Monty Weaver. Just had a unfortunate family. Father passed away and missed a little bit of time. And a great family. He's one of the fastest guys on our team. He's back now and doing some really good stuff. KT Triplett is a junior college guy that's slowly getting better. You can see the beginning of it. He was wide-eyed. This is kind of all new to him, but he's been doing good. But DJ's the leader in that group. I think Amani's going to play a lot of football for us. We have we got a couple guys that can play in a slot, like Jaden Bray and John Nider will play both outside and inside. Cyrus Trawl can play both in the slot, inside and outside. So we've moved the wideouts around a lot more than we have in the past. And some of them, like Jaden and Cyrus and John Nider, who's an experienced guy, can handle that.
Couple things here. I'll get to the funny thing in a second. But DJ Epps is a guy that consistently makes plays. I think folks are going to like his wiggle. Once he gets the ball out there in space, he'll make plays. I think people are really going to like
I was
him.
just going to say the same thing. He's got some shakeability there once he catches that ball and can get upfield and go. Led Troy last year in receptions and touchdown catches, and he's a guy that consistently, since he got here, when you ask around, like, who's showing you something at the receiver? It's always Jaden Bray and DJ Epps when you talk inside. I do think it's interesting how they are cross-training those guys and how much that's come up here in the last week or so, how often they've mentioned Jaden moving to that inside, finding a way to get him the football. And Nider's been a guy that's on the run in terms of who's impressed coaches. But that's interesting that they keep moving guys in and out. That tells me they feel like they've got multiple guys there they can go with. That they've got some other guys on the outside that they're comfortable with if they're going to put Jaden inside at some times. And Cyrus Traw, local from Parkersburg South, we called his high school basketball championship game. That's a kid that's really worked hard and put himself in a position to get some time.
You could see each of those three guys, besides Epps that he just mentioned, as making plays. I mean, Jaden Bray in the slot, that is a big proposition for an opposing defender. You got some situations there that you're going to have to deal with.
As coaches often talk about, it's about finding the advantage you have. Where can you take advantage? And so I think that's what Rich is trying to do with this group, is put some of those bigger guys, Jaden being one, inside. Now you got a size matchup in there, right? And a speed matchup when it's Bray. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting little wrinkle there that we maybe haven't seen out of his offense.
John Nider, folks, is another guy out of Connecticut that is going to surprise. You're going to watch games, and you're going to go like, where'd that dude come from? And they're going to go, UConn. You're like, UConn? What? UConn? That guy's from UConn? Yeah. You got two big pieces on your offense here from the University of Connecticut, one on the offensive line and one at that receiver spot. And those guys are going to be very, very important and impactful on this team. I was kind of inside giggling a little bit because for those of you that are watching, Rich was looking down underneath the table while he was like looking at his receivers. So there we go, right? There is no group of coaches that are more paranoid than football coaches. So you might be wondering, like, why is Rich looking down underneath the table? Well, he's got his depth chart in his hand, right? And he doesn't want anyone to see the depth chart. So, including, like, he thinks someone in there with like a high-powered lens will zoom down on the depth chart, and the next thing you know, it's on one of those social media platforms.
There's no question coaches are in the most paranoid group. He's also right. Someone would do that. If you could get a shot of that would absolutely be out there.
So basically, this is the new press conference version of a coach covering his mouth.
Correct.
But Rich is debuting this. Like no coach has ever went under the table on a depth chart. Rich is basically taking it to the next level.
He's keeping it in
He's
tight.
keeping it down and tight. He's trying to get his mesh.
Yeah, like a baseball pitcher, low and away.
Yeah,
he's got it low and away.
So he's going down. And the problem is he doesn't wear his glasses, right? And so now he's got to go double. So now he's looking down there and he can't see and it's out of focus. Is that Traw or Traw? Which guy is that there? It's a quandary. So I'm going to make a suggestion to him. I'm going to say take the depth chart and put a cover on it with a flying WV so he can just hold it up and all they're going to get is the flying WV and he won't have to worry about it. And then he just sets it down on the flying WV when he wants to put the table up.
Not a terrible suggestion. Believe it or not, one of your recommendations that's really not too bad.
Or he could put the Three Guys logo.
Well, that'd be great.
On there, and then we just kind of show three guys. And
speaking of three guys.
Is it time?
I think our third guy's arrived. I think it's time.
All right, we got Textual Healing coming up in just a little bit. Ross Hodge is going to join us. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by the good folks at Gomart. And speaking of the upcoming football season, don't forget, you can apply now for Gomart's Mountaineer Man Trip Walk. Yes, indeed. Check it out on the Gomart app. Go to a Gomart store, and you can apply and get all the information. Don't forget, soak up on the final days of summer with Gomart's Groovy Gulps. From citrusy and fizzy to creamy and dreamy. There's a new recipe to try every week on Gomart's social media. Mix one up, share it on social. You could win a $25 Gomart gift card, and that is pretty groovy. Additional information, you can visit it at Gomart, the official convenience store of WVU Athletics. By the way, if you're wondering when that Man Trip announcement's going to be, it's going to be on Rich Rodriguez's First Coaches Talk Show of the season, which is coming up, his second show of the season, which is on September 7th. The first one's going to be August the 31st. And just like this, magic, voila, three guys on the set. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the head basketball coach of your West Virginia Mountaineers, rocking the old Jerry West color today. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. How about you?
I bet you're great. I bet you.
What's the saying? It's a great day to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
That's exactly what it is. How about that?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
If you would, from your perspective, put it into perspective. First, how it came about and what it means.
Yeah, man, to be perfectly honest too, and this is where it's almost can be comical at times with what you can do for student athletes and where rules still get sticky.
Yeah.
And ironically, I'm not 100% sure like where we fall in that that lane, ironically, but what I can say is, and I think this is a really cool part of this story, is that that Brennan did finish his degree. He was taking 9 hours in the summer, and we had talked about prior to whatever the next part of the journey was for him, whether it was professional or that was going to be very important in the spring to him and to his family. And so, a lot of cool things are happening as it pertains to him, obviously, but a big part of that to me is that he's also a West Virginia graduate now. And literally that was yesterday. He got 2 B's and an A to finish his college degree. So he has a bachelor's degree and yeah, so like specifically, like still not quite sure where it lands on the spectrum because he is still ours, but with the news and all of that, like maybe have to pause on exactly what it means and how until I can get some better understanding of what I'm allowed to say and what not I am to say right now.
Yeah, because Lord knows you wouldn't. I mean, guys are making bags of money, and by Lord,
we certainly wouldn't want to talk about one of our current players. It is one of our guys, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's yeah, but
we'll
it was
we'll talk
huge,
around you for a second.
Yeah, great news, and obviously really excited about it, and I think everybody is. And I think without even getting my direct input on what it means for our group, like we all know that.
Well, I guess I was going to go like this. I was going to go, hypothetically, what if a kid that was kind of like Velo, like what he would come back, or if you look back on what he brought.
Yeah, his biggest, his incredibly high basketball IQ, a range of defensive versatility, a true 1 through 5 type of guy. When you think about some of our bigger wins last year and the guys, the BYU win at home and how competitive he was in that matchup. Again, can switch on to point guards, athletic enough and savvy enough. If you got to go small, he can get down there and rebound and bang. And then just the offensive growth that he continued through, going from, I think his junior year with us at North Texas, he was 11 of 22 from 3, shot a very high percentage on low attempts, maybe doubled or even tripled his makes last year. And really there was just one little stretch in league where he struggled from 3. But if you take away that 6 or 7 game stretch and just look at the end and look at the beginning of the season, he really shot close to 40% from 3. So just gives you a lot of versatility, a lot of ways, different, again, when you talk about coaching, whatever line of coaching it is, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, the more ways you can win a game, the better. And he's kind of a piece that really gives you that ultimate, you can go bigger, you can go smaller, you can, think he'll, just that's kind of what he was for us. And,
He was also, when you talk about the offensive versatility, so yeah, he could step out and knock down a 3 and had some big ones. But he was also so deadly when they would put 2 on the ball, that short roll situation, whether it was him making a mid-range, whether it was finishing at the basket, he was just elite at that, especially in that back half of the season. That was, so you talk about if you play that forward with some of the skill that's going to surround him and the talent, man, that you're right. You can now beat teams in multiple ways offensively.
Yeah, he's kind of, again, the kind of what Draymond Green was to the Warriors, because everyone's going to put 2 people on the ball with Steph and then being the secondary playmaker in the short roll in the pocket. It's a skill set that he has and shares that same skill set. If you kind of start talking into this year's roster, like even like a guy like a Javen Buchanan, he's another one that is like incredibly versatile and makes it hard to tee up on your backcourt because of their playmaking ability to finish, to shoot, and to pass.
Spoke of Javen Buchanan, both obviously Brennan and Javen, ongoing legal, a lawsuit that's ongoing, so we have to wait and see how that translates. But that's become part of the game. I mean, it's just not a West Virginia thing. I mean, they're all literally all over the country, just kind of waiting. So it's unprecedented.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this show. I know I've mentioned it in different settings before, but my wife Shelly, she's a yoga instructor and she's taught yoga her whole life, so she has like her Zen components and her isms, but she's always talked about that it's the flexible trees that can survive a storm. If you look at hurricanes, it's those trees that have the ability to move and flow. They typically survive. If you get rigid in approach, that's the ones that snap and break in half. And so when you're talking about the time period that we're in from a college athletics standpoint, you better have a level of flexibility. And if you get too rigid and too stuck in a methodology or even a plan that you could have had a plan in place a week ago, knowing that those plans can play, you better have a certain level of like flexibility and adaptability to the surroundings in an ever-changing landscape. I go back to my first year as a head coach at North Texas, and we put that roster together thinking that you could only transfer once. That was just going on 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. The rule was you can transfer once and play. If you transfer twice, you have to sit out. So we took that information and we built a heck of a team. We got banged up a little bit, but you built the team with the mindset that, well, you're going to have these guys for the duration of their career.
Because they'd already transferred.
And it didn't even get to Christmas, and the rule changed in Christmas of that year. So, you really do have to just kind of be flexible, be adaptable, and be ready to change on the fly.
Tell me if I'm overthinking or overhyping this, but I think the recently completed summer practice sessions that you had with your team are some of the most important practices that you'll have in the entire season, because you only get to really meet once.
Yeah.
Right? You only can meet someone for the first time.
Yeah.
And if it craps out early and the guys don't jive together early, it probably is a lasting thing. But if you get them to play nice together in the beginning, then we saw last year, it just continues to blossom.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that is, who you allow in the building to begin with from the jump. And again, I think one thing that's been consistent from year to year in the 2 years we've been here, and again, it's easy to say that guys come and go for a myriad of reasons, and it's easy to maybe just assume that, oh, this player is here solely for this but the thing that's been really cool, and you guys know because you're around these guys, you really do get the glimpse behind the curtain, but these guys wanted to be at West Virginia. And you guys have reminded me of that messaging, like, hey, like it's easy to, again, Javen Buchanan or Josan Sanan or Mo Silla or Miles, they could have went in anywhere.
Truly.
And they chose to come here, and they're excited to be here. And it was a good summer. It went really fast, but the importance of getting everybody on the same page and getting them all to understand that we were going to have to make a certain level of sacrifice to do what we want to do. And so that's always fun, that initial learning and growing without, the competition phase, which we're all excited about, and you get your guys back and it gets here really quick. I mean, we have an open door exhibition at Maryland on the 17th of October, which is right around the corner. I know we got to get through some football games first, but that'll be here quick.
Let's talk about that adaptability and flexibility. This team's going to play differently than it did last year. So let's go. We'll talk about individuals here, but just overall, what do you see from this team through the summer practices, and how's that translate into maybe a little different style of play than what we saw last year?
Yeah, your foot speed is significantly different. Really, your point of attack, and you guys know how much I love Jasper, and that's one thing I don't like about the time period we're in, just societal. It feels like celebrating one thing automatically means it's a slight at another.
Right.
And sometimes it couldn't be further from the truth. Jasper had his first pro game last night, signed a contract on Monday and was playing a game on a Tuesday, which was really cool, and played good. And I loved him. But, we always said it, Jasper was going to play at Jasper's pace. It was the beauty of him.
He lived life at Jasper's
He did.
pace.
He was going to eat at his pace. He was going to, he was going to go through his line. He was going to sit down, and and so naturally with your guard play, when you talk about Miles Sadler, Finley, Martin Somerville, it's just there's a natural pace increase that doesn't even have to be pushed upon from a coaching staff standpoint. And then when you talk about your forwards with the Mo Silla and Amadou Sini and your wing, Seydou, Josan, those guys can really get out and run. And so I think that with even being a basketball novice, with not even, I do know everyone around Mountaineer country is basketball savants. They're all basketball geniuses, but even to the novice, if you just stepped in and watched 5 minutes, you'd be like, oh, faster,
longer,
more
fluid.
athletic. Yeah.
Exactly.
Does it mean anything other than what it means? Does it mean you're just automatically going to win? No, we know that, but I think that part is to the the simplest version, you see that, and it's like, oh, this is easy to see.
But that requires from a staff. Now you're going to go back and look at some different sets and some different offensive schemes and play calls and all of that. So defense principles remain the same, but it does allow you on the offensive side to say, all right, what do we have, and how do we best take advantage of those abilities?
Correct. Yeah, correct. So, but it's been a very fast summer, like they all are now, but it's been a good summer, and was able to remain healthy, which is always, priority number one. I tell anybody that ever asks, how was practice today? If your whole team walks off the practice floor upright, it was a hell of a practice.
Amen.
Because everything else can be corrected, So
Amir Jenkins, you're hopeful that he comes back. He's in the rehab mode, right?
Yeah, and he had surgery on his left shoulder on, pretty quickly right after the season. Again, you play until whatever it was, April 4th. But he did have surgery on that. He had to get to a certain range of motion, followed up with the surgery on the right one, but he's progressing well. And yeah, you again when you talk about rule changes, 4 months ago, you're probably looking at a situation where, hey, let's just redshirt the whole year, and there's still some discrepancy on that. Like I know they've tried to say that even medical red shirts will be eliminated, but who really knows if they are or if they aren't. But he is rehabbing well, and he was around this summer, and he's done a good job of communicating to the new guys of the expectations and what's to go on.
Your schedule's hard. Why'd you do that?
Well, again, just like naturally, when you play in the players era, you're picking up a third very high level game. So, and we're honored to be a part of that, and that'll be a late night for that first one. But
midnight tip.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'd mentioned it in my last press conference. Us were sitting around before a game one day in my office, and I asked y'all, like, what do we think would be a game that our fans would appreciate and could excite? And you guys were like, Virginia Tech, no question. And so that one made sense, and that's an exciting series. It's a 3-game series, one here in Morgantown, one at their place, and then the third one in Charleston.
That's neat.
So the Pitt game, the return, got an opportunity to be a part of the Dick Vitale Classic on Black Friday and kind of a standalone game against North Carolina, and those are opportunities that don't come around a ton, and you're thankful and grateful for the opportunities to, and that's not even talking about the return game with neutral Wake Forest and Greensboro. And so yeah, we're excited about it, and fans like it, players like it, coaches like it, and there'll be a lot of learning and a lot of growing through those moments, but you'll find out a lot about yourselves and get an opportunity to step out there and get some quality wins early.
You talked during your press conference a week ago about Miles Sadler and expectations. And I totally understand where you're coming from on that, because nowadays, because of social media, things get so blown up and big, and it can be crazy if you listen to it all. What do you think a fan's realistic expectation should be for what he will be able to do in this first season?
Yeah, I think, I think if you asked him, I don't think he's ever shied away from, expectations, and I think it's all healthy within reason, but the thing I love about him is he's extremely, he has a high level of humility. He has a great humbleness about him. He wants to be coached. He wants to be pushed. He wants to be told the truth. He knows that he hasn't arrived, and that's his heart. And so I think that should probably be the heart that's centered around him for everyone else. If he's not sitting here, if he's not thinking he has all the answers, which none of us do, then I don't think anyone should put the expectation that he has all the answers when he himself doesn't approach it like that. But he's got a great competitive spirit. He's strong-willed. He's tough, and he's very coachable.
Happy guy too.
Yes.
He's a happy guy.
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Skill set wise, sometimes, and listen, you recruit these guys so well. There's rarely surprises when they show up. But at least from our perspective, I know Tony would agree with this. He's exactly live as he has looked on TV. When he has showed up, that speed is legit and real.
Yeah.
His ability to pass the ball and put it in the right spot is legitimately real. So he's as advertised, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a gifted passer, extremely talented from a speed standpoint, shot making, creativity for himself and for others. He's improving defensively. He knows again, like they always say, like you're gonna be at the highest version of yourself, you're gonna have to defend some pretty dang good players along the way. So he's improving in that area. But his tightness with the handle, his ability to play end to end with the speed and under control and in core strength and balance is very impressive.
What is the biggest challenge? You've had a lot of guys through the years. What are the biggest challenges in the transition that he's going to face?
I think with any player, there's a certain amount of things that maybe you can get away with based on talent. And he played a very challenging schedule. Mm-hmm. That's the thing about these guys nowadays, especially a player like him. He's played against so many of the players, even if they're older than him. But you can still, there's a certain level of thing that you can get away with that you won't be able to get away with at this level. The importance of managing possessions, how important each possession is when you talk about the margin of victory in a Big 12 game is so thin that one possession here where you take a play off defensively or maybe take a chance offensively when it wasn't really had to be, I think that's where your learning curve is. And again, he has such confidence in himself and can make high-end plays, but it's like, can you just be committed to just hitting singles, man? Like just hit singles, and then the grand slam will come. You don't have to go up there with the mindset that every time I swing this bat, I'm trying to hit one 450 feet.
I want to keep talking about this roster, so I want to talk about Mo Sella and Josan Sannon here in a minute, but let's talk about Amadou Sini for a minute.
Yeah.
That is a large human being, one. And two, at 7'3" with his shoes on, his ability to get up and down the floor and be mobile and move, it has blown me away when I've watched him. Your thoughts on Sini since he's arrived?
Yeah, just a sponge. Gets a little bit better every day. Such a good heart for winning and learning. And again, his ability for someone of his size, legit 7'1", 7'5" wingspan, to run up and down the floor with really out getting fatigued.
That's freakish.
And
best VO2 on the team.
Yeah.
For a dude 7+.
And just his ability to impact the game with his size and just ability to get in the way. We talked about one thing that Harlan got so good at last year was just being in the way.
Yeah.
At
showing,
his size.
Right, and then drop.
And just never and Sini's gotten so much better at that even in a small amount in the summer.
Yeah, he's been impressive.
How's the language thing working out?
Yeah, you get better every day.
Doesn't seem like it was a problem.
No, sponge. Like I said, he's a sponge.
Yeah, a high basketball IQ, right?
Extremely.
I mean, he knows what
he's
he's
played
doing.
a lot of high-level basketball. Yeah. And so, again, with any going into a new program, which all these guys are now, there's always a little bit of a language barrier, even if you speak English, because if you're coming from a different program, maybe they called this ball screen coverage weak and we say ice.
Yeah. And
maybe they called it, hot and we call it down. And in their mind instantly. So there is a thought process for everyone of like, okay, I've been saying X when this happens. No different than like a football. Like the route tree is the same route tree, but one offensive coordinator may call it razor and the other offensive coordinator may call it spike. But it's the same one. It's just you have to learn to process it.
Finley Bizjack goes in and plays that role of Honor Huff. Now, Honor put together one of the greatest shooting seasons in school history. What, from a game management standpoint, what does that piece allow you to do?
Well, he's a bona fide scorer, and he's fast. Again, he can put a lot of pressure on opposing defenses, and their starting point guard last year got hurt. And so he had to play a lot of that position as well, which long term is good for him. And I've always thought that all guards should bear the responsibility of actually having to be the point guard at one point in time, and you realize how difficult that job is. So, he can make plays for others. He can make plays for himself. Has made shots in real games, and he got a lot better as the summer went on too.
Mm-hmm.
Mo Silla's a guy unlike there's not many of those dudes in the country. Near 7 feet tall, runs like he's 6'1". What can you do with Mo Silla both offensively and defensively that excites you?
Yeah, his defensive versatility. He's just such a fluid mover.
Mm-hmm.
Can really move easily, and again creates a vertical presence on both ends of the floor where you can, again, if he can get behind the defense, you can throw it up. He has switchability in the defensive game. He has a good IQ, kind of can facilitate some things offensively as well for you. So the sky is the limit for how good he could be,
and can erase some mistakes even if he's not in the right
Correct.
spot.
Yeah,
Right?
and he's another one. Along with all these guys, his heart and the humility he has for others and winning is really high.
I think it speaks to the talent that exists on this roster that we've been talking for a half hour. We've gone through 7 different guys. I haven't asked you about Joe Sansanin.
I was just going to bring him up.
That's an NBA type of player, can do everything. What do you look for out of Sannin?
Yeah, shot maker, athletic, quick twitch. I've really challenged him to take on the role of trying to be an all-league defender because he has the physical gifts to be that. Averaged 10 points a game as a freshman in the Big 12. Averaged about 8.5 last year for a round of 32 team that won the Big East, and played a lot of basketball. And he's really opened up this summer, and it's been fun to see him grow as a person. And again, he's another one that that his best basketball is ahead of him. And sometimes, and I don't think anybody means it ill-intentioned, just kind of like when your question about Miles and how quickly we want to get guys to where they're going, instead of just kind of like, hey man, let's have a good,
let them grow.
Let's have a good weight workout. Then let's get some good breakfast. Let's have a good practice. Let's stretch, maybe do a little academics, come back and get some shots up. And then, let's do it again tomorrow. And then if you can kind of commit to those processes, the big things happen.
Yeah.
But certainly think big things ahead of him. Martin Somerville's another, again, averaged 8.5 at Florida State last year. And his ability to play on the ball, off the ball, make shots, really crafty, such a connector, has done a really good job of connecting guys together. Seydou Traore's another one. Mountaineer. Yeah. We saw what he did in our own building against us. He's another one that just gives you so much versatility.
It's really, you can go big, you can size down a little bit, you can stay big on the perimeter. There's a lot of versatility with this lineup.
Correct.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we still haven't talked about Javen Buchanan, who
Yeah.
I think is a really nice, different piece.
Glue piece, right?
Yeah, can do a little bit of everything. He's another one. He's so good in the post and facilitating, and he can make threes, and he's a great teammate. He's physical. He's another guy you can't really put 2 on the ball in a pick and roll because of his ability to make plays for others, and he's been awesome.
So we're a week away from school starting. You're going to just do it gradually when they get back, right? A little individual, and then when September comes,
everybody will start creeping back in this weekend. We'll kind of ease in. Your first week of school, you kind of have a lot of adjustment. We'll have some, you have a Title IX meeting, you'll have a compliance meeting. You'll kind of try to knock out as much of the red tape as you can. The following week, kind of start getting their legs back under them, making all that stuff happen. And then, that first week of September, you start really kicking it into gear. And next thing you know, you're playing against somebody else.
Yeah, like you just said, that's 6 weeks from the first exhibition game there, so that's going to get here fast.
Yeah, no doubt.
You like the 3 exhibition games?
I do. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, I think at this point you can't get enough of those guys in game situations.
Yeah,
before they start to count.
No doubt.
So you're not just a basketball guy. You like football.
I love football.
Love baseball.
Love baseball.
So we have recounted multiple times. Give us your take from the appearance in Omaha at the College World Series. You were able to dip in there and catch a game and get out. What'd you think?
Yeah, just a magnetic run, through the regionals and the super regionals, and just that group was just so tough. I mean, if I had to use like an adjective for Coach Saban's group, man, they were just so freaking tough, man. I'd text them that throughout the year, man. You guys are freaking tough, man. And it was just a magical run, and grew up watching College World Series, and to be able to, that was the first time I had been there, so like to be able to go, period, is amazing. To be able to go with a rooting interest is even another level, and obviously extremely excited for Coach Rodriguez, to get kicked up, here in a couple weeks. I mean, it really is amazing how fast it gets here.
Your visits will start happening, right?
Oh yeah, all of it. The fun never stops.
You're in, man. I mean, you're settled.
Yeah.
You're settled. Family's locked in. Daughter's off to college. You're getting old.
Take her. Drop her off on Tuesday of next
about
week.
that?
Move her in.
You're old, man. I mean, that's officially old. That's officially now.
Thanks.
Now it's like one's in college, and then the other guy, like Reed, he won't be around that much anymore because he's a high school guy hanging out. And yeah, it just happens, man. Like you say, man, life happens.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, congratulations on your early Christmas present, and we'll see how that all develops. That's a big one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Huge one. You want to do a Conley on spreads on stats real quick?
You wanna give me one?
It's because on Belo.
You got a Belo stat?
Well, I was just going to do a couple.
All right, Conley
numbers from
Spreads
Belo.
on Stats brought to us by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. You can outsource your accounting with the folks at Conley CPA Group. If you've got to figure out your rev share, you can go to Conley CPA Group. They can kind of take a look at your rev share and just see, that all works, and it's all balanced, and everything is good. What do you have?
Well, one of them that jumped out to me, we talked about how much he came on late. How about double figures in every single game starting on January 27th through the rest of the year?
Say that again?
Double figures every game from January 27th on.
That works.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Ross mentioned 36% from three. I thought that's where he really took a big jump. He became a guy that got consistent, especially after you said there was that little stretch where it wasn't going in.
Yeah, there was a midway stretch midway through the Big 12 where I think he kind of went through a little bit of a slump, maybe like even 1 for 20, 1 for 19. But aside from that, really shot the ball well.
Guy that we talk about win shares a lot. So his defensive win shares in the 84th percentile. I think he's even more valuable than that. Defensive win shares per 40 minutes, 88th percentile.
Now explain to people what that means.
Well, just the simple term is the numbers that go in to your defensive side of winning games. How do you do in block shots and steals, those sort of things? Field goal percentage against your opponent when you're on the field and how that contributes to winning.
So 84 is a big boy number.
84th percentile nationally.
Yeah. That's a big boy number.
They're good. I'll bring more later. There's just a quick recap.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you guys.
We're going to vanish again. Time for Textual Healing. It is brought to us by, it's brought to oh my gosh, that music's loud. It's brought to us by the good folks at WVU Medicine. They are the exclusive healthcare provider for all mountaineers, including you. You know, at the WVU Cancer Institute, our experts deliver personalized care. Every patient with pancreatic cancer utilizes innovative treatments and technology, and they're backed by one of the nation's top 25 robotic surgery programs, from diagnosis and surgery to treatment and survivorship. They are there every step of the way. If someone that you know is dealing with it, if you're dealing with pancreatic cancer, WVU, as I said, one of the nation's top 25 robotic surgery programs. You can call them at 855-WVU-CARE. That's 855-WVU-CARE. All right, so now we go back, what we call that, two guys mode? Go back two guys mode. I've got, doing this different today. Dean's not here, as you probably could tell by now. Hoppy's on assignment. He'll be back next week. Back next week, right?
Back next week.
Yeah, he's back.
Hey, real quick, 2 more quick numbers on Belo while we're here.
Sure.
44% from 3 from top of the key. And then 32% of his shots came inside the lane. We talked about that short roll where you come 2 guys out, you hit that little pocket pass.
Makes money in that paint.
32% in that spot. So talk about his ability to hit right there if you don't come out. And then if he just backs up a couple steps, now he's at the top of the key, which was his best location from 3.
Yeah.
You have some real versatility now with him mixed back in this lineup. Yep. Think about the high-low with him at the free throw line. You try and double Miles up top. He hits Belo. Now you've got a decision inside. You're going to leave Mo Silla alone on a block or Amadou Sini that you can lob it up to if you're Belo? Or are you going to try and leave Belo alone? I mean, you had options anyway with this new roster. Now you add this guy back in. That's exciting news today.
Yeah, it really is. We had fun last week. Senator and I were down in Charleston, and we had a couple things. We had a little time on our hands, and we went to Bad Happy, which is an unbelievable burrito type place. Chef Paul Smith, Beard Award-winning Chef Paul. It's his locale out there in Hurricane. Taze Valley.
Taze Valley,
the general hurricane metroplex. So we go down there. We had a hell of a meal. It was off the chart good, man. I'm just like, and you know me, I'm a food snob, as you well know. I just like, whoa, unbelievable. You get a chance to go down there. Go to
quesadillas, bowls, pork, shrimp.
What did I get? I got the notorious PIG.
You did.
That was
you got a quesadilla also.
Plus, they threw everything
chips
in there.
And queso and guac.
It's really good.
How about that Tres Leches cake?
Very nice. Very civilized. So anyway, on our way back, we're going up the road to get to Charleston. Go by that St. Albans exit. I say, that's St. Albans exit. I said, well, wait a second. Coach's time out here. St. Albans exit, that's where Lou Wendell is. Lou Wendell Marine Sales for over 40 years. So we pulled off, and we drove to Lou Wendell.
Pretty easy to find. Went by St. Albans High School right there, and then just went to the water, right? Of course, he's on the water, headed back towards the water.
Well, you cut across where Ann Bailey Elementary is.
Correct.
Ann Bailey Elementary's out there. So we walk in, and lo and behold, he was there.
Not just a name on the building.
It's like, there he is. So to your left in the fluorescent yellow shirt, that is Lou. Lou Wendell, who looks unbelievable. And there's his son, Michael. And so we sat around and we talked boating, talked pontoons. Now, Lou, he's got himself a craft as well. And that is his stern wheel boat. That is over 100 years old, once owned by a lawyer out of Chicago who represented a guy by the name of Al Capone. And if you do a little history research, Capone refers to riding on that boat. That's the Rufus B. And Lou, good thing we caught him that day because he was going to go out on his way. He was going up Point Pleasant. Then he was going into Ahia.
All on the river.
All on the river.
With the Rufus.
Yeah, with that one, with that ship.
Al Capone not on the boat, as far as we know.
Al no longer with us. And anyway, so it was awesome to meet. So we talked to those folks, and they said, hey, as you guys know, school getting ready to start. It won't be long. The boats will be coming in. So any winterization and any kind of service that you need on your craft, they're fantastic folks. We encourage you to visit Lou Wendell Marine Sales. But it was a thrill for us. Plus, we got some T-shirts. We got those awesome. And I have one. I wore mine the other day.
It was a fun, good visit. Great to see them.
Good.
How about we walk in, though? Lou's right there. First guy he seems on the phone working a deal.
Doing a deal.
Right when we walked in.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be? They've been doing it for 40 years. Number one pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia.
Might have been on with the producers of the James Bond films. Might have been re-upping on that deal.
I asked him about that, and to me it looked like it's us. But I think they have to keep that. They sign non-disclosure agreements that they can't announce that they are the supplier to James Bond on any pontoon scenes. I think that's what it is. From our text line, texter writes in, here's a logo for when Ren Baker visits the next time. It's completely free of charge. There you go. 4 guys before the game with Ren. Another person came in and said, hey, watching the latest episode, and I started efforting for Ren. And they came in, well, there you go with that right there. That's the new 4 guys with a run. Thank you very much. Guy texted in, said, hey, I spotted this on my recent trip to Iceland. Didn't know that we had an alumni group in Reykjavik. Dan in Damascus, Maryland. See, they're Mountaineers of Iceland.
There you go. Everywhere.
Yeah. As we're recording right now, they were just getting over that eclipse down there in Iceland, up there in Iceland today. That was quite a thing there.
Big day.
First eclipse there in Iceland, I think, since like 1945. Bet you didn't know that. Anyway, texter says, off topic, but a guy named Jason Kuhn was just elected to the Poker Hall of Fame. He's got 2 World Series of Poker bracelets, 3rd highest winning poker player ever with over $77 million. Oh, he happens to be from Weston.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, that's
How about that career earnings again?
$77 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something else. Texter, always a West Virginia connection at my golf club in Connecticut. Pull up to the range and see this club head. So the club head cover someone left sitting on the top of the box that has T's in it because, of course, it's got the flying WVU logo on it.
Why wouldn't
So that's there. Thank you, Derek.
That's in Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
Yeah.
Dougie Fresher from Murrells Inlet in South Carolina. I got a level 2, always a West Virginia connection for you. I'm meeting a new financial planner down here in the Carolinas. Come to find out he's from Summersville. But here's the amazing part. He tells me, hey, Doug, don't know, I know you're a Mountaineer fan. Next time you go to Morgantown, if you ever need any cool Mountaineer gear, his best friend growing up opens a men's store. It's called Daniel's. His best friend, none other than the fine-looking Phil. Needless to say, I signed up with him as my new financial planner. I'll see you a few weeks at the tailgate.
The Phil reference did it.
So Phil's buddy, I didn't know Phil had a buddy out there, financial planner. And,
got him all over. Don't not know that either.
I tell you what, Braxton County is just a bevy of Braxton County's given us fine-looking Phil and that monster down there that lives at the Go-Mart, right? Isn't there some kind of a Braxton County monster?
Well, I don't know if it lives at the Go-Mart.
Oh. Thought it was around there.
We had a nice time at the Go-Mart, too, last week in Flatwoods.
A great time.
Hit it on the way down and the way back. We went to the one on the left.
Doubled it up.
Yeah.
I recreated the picture, by the way, folks. Once you leave Go-Mart and you go back up that exit ramp, remember that the famous picture of Coach Hunter driving down that ramp where it looked like the steering wheel was the size of a Reese cup? I did the same thing with Brad, and it also looked really weird. I didn't send that to Jake. Maybe next time. Texter, 3 guys. I had one of those wonderfully unexpected West Virginia moments this afternoon. We're at Kauffman Stadium for the Cubs Royals when Randy Dobnak took the mound for Kansas City. Country Roads comes pouring over the speakers. It made me look more closely at his story, which is remarkable. Undrafted out of Division II Alderson Broadus.
Yes.
Plays independent ball.
Yes. Signed
by the Twins for all of $500 after being essentially discovered on video. He drives Uber and Lyft while chasing the dream. 2 years later, pitching in the major leagues, even starting an American League, an ALDS game at Yankee Stadium. Now, after all the twists and turns of a journeyman's career, back in the major league rotation in KC, Country Roads accompanies him to the mound. He still lives in Falling Waters. But it also struck me, much bigger story what's happening here. What's happened with Country Roads this summer is extraordinary. Watching tens of thousands of Americans sing it together during World Cup, seeing WVU baseball through its postseason, featured by Connor Knighton on CBS, and then hearing it today in a major league park 800 miles away from West Virginia. The song has transcended geography and become an American hymn about home. There has to be a documentary done on this. Not simply the history of the song, which has been told, but why this song, why now, and why does it still do this to people 55 years later? West Virginia is at the center, but the story has become bigger than West Virginia. There's something fascinating about a song so specifically rooted in one place, becoming a universal expression of belonging. Seems tailor-made for you guys. Ought to make it happen. People would watch the hell out of it.
remarkable season that song is having. I asked a guy on vacation this year. They were playing it on there. I think I told this story when I got back from the trip. As we were coming back in, the final 2 songs they went with, Sweet Caroline, which we added the West Virginia version of that, and then they finished with Country Road. So I said to him afterwards, why do you finish with that? Why do you play that song? And he said, it's a great way to end the trip because everybody that comes through here, it doesn't matter where they're from, knows the words, they sing along, and it's just a happy song. It makes you feel good. And that was a guy's answer thousands of miles away from us as to why they play it every single day on their boating excursions.
Makes sense. Gentlemen, first time, long time. Before we get to actual football, finally, I have to get this off my chest. The Antero deal was yet another Ren Baker slam dunk. Can't think of an AD with a higher approval rating, especially considering the slow success in football and men's hoops. The Monster deal, on the other hand, looks worse every day. Big 12 bought floor space, field space, and jersey space at every single school that Monster Green desiccating such places as Mountaineer Field and the Floridale and Fieldhouse. I don't buy the international appeal. A kid in Antwerp won't see a Big 12 logo and send his application to Stewart Hall. Wren thoughtfully considered the energy industry as a powerful brand compliment. Your mark is just furthering the stereotype that we're a truck stop conference. Written by Dr. B on the West Side. Obviously put him in the category not happy with the Monster deal. This is an interesting one. This came up 2 days ago at Rich's Presser. Jeff and Scott Depot. I know that booing players has always been a controversial topic, and I used to say they're kids, but I have sent text since NIL started that I feel it makes things different since they're basically pros. You guys mostly disagreed with me. In Richard's presser the other day, he was talking about the difference now that players are paid. He stated now that they're getting paid, fans have every right to express their feelings about the play. I believe he said, boo away if they're not performing. What is your guys' opinions on Rich saying this? So let me just, aside from what Rich said, I'm not a boo guy. Like I don't boo no matter what. I truly don't buy into booing. I totally understand that some people say it's their priority. That's fine. But me personally, because I know how hard it is to perform, and I know that a very high percentage of the time they're giving their absolute very best and they're not trying to fail. So I'm not in a boo camp. So I understand what some are saying, but that's just not what I would do.
To me, booing's one thing. Some of the stuff some of those guys took last year via social is a whole different realm. You boo a couple times throughout the game, I get it, and I see what Rich is saying. You're getting paid a lot of money here. I understand that. There's a difference between what was coming in via social last year on a lot of different players and booing. So I would draw a distinction between those two things.
Yeah, terribly bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Terribly bad stuff. And I also get the point that since players are being paid now, that there is a higher level of accountability that you can make that claim. So if they're not fully engaging and for whatever reason are acting like a dork, then I could see that you're more apt to do it now. I get that part of it.
It is a more nuanced discussion though, because there are ramifications beyond just in that moment. How many times have we talked to different coaches that said former players have been invaluable in helping recruit and get guys here? So I think that's part of it too. Some guys walk away here, and if they took too much unnecessary stuff on social media, does that affect you in other ways downstream that you didn't intend to as a fan? So I think sometimes you have to keep that in mind as well.
You think it impacted Pat McAfee for years and years and years?
For years. Decades. Thank goodness that resolved itself and brought you back in at a time when you need that exposure. But I think there are other examples, and those become more frequent as social media has become more prevalent. I think there are other guys that walk away and they won't keep the same feeling that you would like them to have walking away. never know when that person's going to come back. Need some help from that person.
Yeah, absolutely true. Last one. Little League World Series, Little League Regional. Everyone wants in on country roads. And there he is. That team out of Washington State?
No, Idaho. West Valley, Idaho. That played this week, like Tuesday night. If you're listening to this, we're recording on Wednesday. They played Tuesday night, beat Washington. Lined up, beat Washington.
So they went WV West Valley.
Yeah, the West Virginia team out of Shady Spring wore the flying WV on their hat as well. They are unfortunately out of the tournament, but Idaho marches on.
Yeah. And as we record tonight, Pony League World Series up the road, championship game. This is going to be a dandy. You got Chinese Taipei.
No one circles the wagons like Chinese Taipei.
No one circles the wagons like those dudes against Washington County, PA.
Oh, how about that? They're all the way in the title game.
They made it to the title game.
That's a heck of a run.
They will be hanging off of the bleachers at Lou Hayes Pony Field tonight.
You think Randy's Ridge up there will have good attendance?
They do have a hill back there. There's going to be people packed up, little blanket action. Chinese Taipei, Washington County, PA.
That's pretty good.
And you're right. I mean, Chinese Taipei is fun to watch.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget before we get out of here, we got an event next week.
Oh, my bag. Yeah. What else did I forget to do? Just that?
Just that, August 19th.
Yeah, next Wednesday. August 19, we are on the road in Harrison County. We're going to the Social Tap, which is run by the folks from Oliverio's Restaurants.
It's in the Oliverio's family of restaurants.
Yes, it is. And it'll be all three of us will be on hand. Student athletes. We're going to have some WVU student athletes thanks to Gold and Blue Enterprises.
From multiple sports.
Yeah, from multiple sports. And we're just going to do a live show and have fun. So if you'd like to do something to hang out, what time is it?
5:30, 6 o'clock. Goes to about 7:30. Free of charge for admission.
Well, sure.
They're going to have some food, some cold beverages.
Right.
Free to get in. So come on over, see us Wednesday.
They have a meatball there? Or?
Might have some of that. Rumor there might be a Renfredo pizza making an appearance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've branched out. It's not just Renfredo as a dish. It goes on the pizza, too. So we'll have that.
I would.
You'll try that.
I would try the pizza.
Sure. Well, it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Do that. Okay.
Yeah, so Wednesday, August 19th, Social Tap in Bridgeport, free admission. Come on out and join us.
Outstanding. All right. Music has begun, which means we be out. Special thanks to our producer, Jake. We threw a lot of stuff at him today.
He handled
get
it.
Ross in and out of there without being seen. We had to grab it. We got a bunch of stuff going on there, so special thanks to him for helping us out. Three guys before the game. That was episode 731, brought to us by GoMart. Get that GoMart app and immediately save on food and fuel. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. I filled up at GoMart the other day. I went truck, then put it into my gas can for my lawnmower, then went back to the truck. So it's like that would be like double dipping a chip, wouldn't it? I double dip the pump. Like, is that etiquette-wise you can do that?
You got some nice reward points on that on your app.
I tell you what, damn price of gas nowadays, I damn near need to get a mortgage.
You might own part of GoMart now. It's good app rewards points there.
Gas prices. The Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. By Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. By Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. And Textual Healing, presented by WVU Medicine, the exclusive healthcare provider for all Mountaineers, including you. Special thanks to WVU basketball coach for Ross Hodge joining us here. A little Brennan Lorient news. That's a good day. That's a real good day. Going to be fun. Football continues. Practice, big scrimmage on Saturday. We'll talk about that scrimmage when we're back at you next week. Got a baseball player coming in here too, maybe down the road?
Efforting.
All right. I've said enough. I don't ever want to say anything in advance. Never have. See ya.